the Carolina Panthers, who, yes, spoiler alert, I already let the cat out of the bag. They remain unbeaten. Ron Rivera's team blew a 28-point second-half lead against the Giants, but a Graham Gano field goal in the final seconds secured a 38-35 win. Carolina is now 14-0. Only the Falcons and Bucks left on that schedule, Greg. They stay perfect, and Odell Beckham lost his damn mind. What a day.
This was the chance for the Panthers to lose. The fact that you could somehow blow a 28-point lead out of nowhere through a variety of defensive letdowns and just bad luck, a blocked field goal, and yet Cam Newton gets the ball with under 2 minutes to go, and he does the two things he's been doing all year, just fireball slants over the middle, and then 2 runs for first down, sets up the game-winning field goal, clinched the MVP. It's all over. They're going 16-0, and he's getting the hardware.
I love the contrast between him and Odell Beckham, where Beckham acts like a fool all game, scores a touchdown, does the Allen Iverson walk all over Josh Norman.
Step over.
And the camera pans over to Cam Newton, shakes his head like, all right, I see you. Now go watch what I'm about to do with the game on the line.
He said, Cam even said it in the post-game interview with Aaron Andrews, that they were so ticked off with in public opinion, I think, because he just handled himself poorly. But Newton was so ticked that he said the only thing he was upset about after the game is that they didn't score a touchdown to win because they really wanted to stick it to Beckham after what he had done.
Wow.
I mean, Beckham, too, is, if you want to give him any credit, he gets into all these skirmishes with Josh Norman throughout the game. In theory, maybe Norman sort of went after him a little early on one play, and then Beckham kept going again and again. I blame the officials for not throwing penalties in the first quarter. He should have had 2 personal fouls in the first quarter. He didn't have any. He ended up with 4 penalties in the game. That's the most for any receiver in 15 years. 3 of them were personal fouls. I think that the officials set the tone by not throwing the flag early. If you want to give Beckham any credit, who had a really poor game, no catches in the first half, he did come up with the 2 monster catches in the drive that ties up the game to set up that big Cam Newton moment.
That's true. I mean, he did show some resilience, but even after he scored the touchdown, like Wes said, the step over, it was like, calm down, Odell. And when he launched himself into Josh Norman's helmet, I mean, how do you not get kicked out of the game? That was that was a terrible job by Odell Beckham. You're supposed to be...
He tackled him on another play?
The young shining son of New York sports, the successor to Jeter, and you're acting like a total... I can't even say it.
Well, we're weeks removed from him kicking the ball in another game, and I can't think of a player who is this talented, but this has been going on for all season. When you talk to people that deal with him, he is not well regarded by his peers. And we talk about this downstairs. Maybe there's the jealousy aspect of that to his quickly rising star, but he does not seem to be well respected, and a lot of people point to his toughness too.
Well, that's the thing. I think it hurt his team on the field today, his lack of, I don't know if you want to call it toughness, but his sensitivity.
Composure.
They got into his head, and he hurt his team.
Looks out.
He should have been. He's the best player on the team, and he should have been ejected many times. So that would have hurt his team even more. He dropped an easy touchdown in the first half, dropped another pass. He was in
Let's
his head.
not act like Josh Norman shut him down, as I saw on Twitter for most of the day. Even when he had no catches in the first half, he was getting open and should have had a long touchdown.
He also wasn't against Josh Norman most of the day. I mean, most of his catches were from the slot. He plays a lot from the slot. I don't know if this was more than usual, but Cortland Finnegan and a safety were on him a lot of the
This
game.
game was 35-7.
It was over.
It is outrageous what happened. This is against a team, and you got to give the Giants credit for battling back in this game. Another heartbreaking loss for them is how it ends up. But to come back against a team that's 13-0, tie it up, but then that's why, and I agree, now Newton to me is the clear-cut favorite for MVP, that he, once the game was tied, it could have gotten away with him. He just let him coolly right down the field, and they win the game.
Yeah, I mean, that
MVP stuff.
That was absolutely like a signature moment from Cam in a season where he's had 40 signature moments. But are you concerned at all about the fact that they gave up that 28 unanswered points, or is that at this you're going to have to win games so many different ways that we look past it and they move right on to the playoffs? They're the best team in the NFC.
Aren't we picking nits on an undefeated team?
No, I think so.
I am not that concerned about it. I think each game has its own momentum, And when you get a big lead like that, there's always a danger.
Well, and it was a fluke, a blocked field goal. The game's over if it wasn't for a blocked field goal. There's another play that I'm forgetting by the Giants that was a little fluky in that comeback, but that's what you need. It was 35-7 late in the third. It wasn't like this was a comeback that started in the first half. It's crazy how fast this all happened. I will say, though, the Panthers have done this 3 times this season where they gave up huge leads in the Colts game, in the week before the Colts game, and now this one. So it's something in the playoffs you would think that's going to be on their mind if they get a big lead, that they got to keep the foot on the gas. But Newton wins the MVP, especially on a day where they couldn't run the ball, but he could, 100 yards rushing. No Jonathan Stewart really hurt them.
The Panthers are probably going to go 16-0.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable what's happening here. It's historic, and I don't think anybody saw it coming. Even the Panthers fans that chirp, coming after me, and poor Connor changed his mind and picked against the Panthers again at the last moment. Nobody expected this to happen. So the Panthers are 2 games away from joining some historic company.